We're looking at 1 Samuel chapter 28 today, and a very interesting account. We start off in the first couple of verses by the fact that the Philistines were now going to go against Israel in battle, and David, who has been very deceptive and has made a friend of one of the kings of the Philistines, is asked to go into battle with him. Now David's back is against the wall. He has pretended to be a friend of the Philistines and an enemy of Israel. Now he's being asked to go into battle against Israel. Now what is he going to do? So the first two verses speak of that. And David said to Achish, very well, verse 2, you shall know what your servant can do. Well, Achish likes that. He says, very well, I will make you my bodyguard for life. So their friendship is deep. And David is really in a pickle. Is he actually going to go into battle against Israel? Well, the narrative shifts at this point to Saul, and so we don't find out what is going to happen with David till later. But now we turn to Saul. We find because Samuel is dead and Saul has no spiritual guidance at all, and he's very, very much concerned about what's going to happen. The forces of the Philistines are great. Saul is concerned about victory, and he has nobody to talk to about it. And so he does what he earlier would never have done. He turns to the spiritists. In verse 3, the mediums and the spiritists are people that he's banned from the land before. He would kill them because spiritists and mediums were not allowed in Israel. So Saul at one time had made a law, a good one, and would not allow these people in his kingdom. But now he's desperate, and Samuel's not around, and so Saul and the Lord will not answer him. He tries apparently to go through other spiritual leaders and prophets and so forth in verse 6, but is not able to get anything from God. The Lord has abandoned him, and Saul knows that, but he keeps persevering at any rate. So he comes to a medium. He has his men go find a witch, basically a medium, and he says to her, verse 8, conjure up for me, please, and bring up for me whom I shall name to you. Well, she doesn't know this is Saul, but she finally is convinced to do so, and she realizes eventually who Saul is. Well, who do you want me to bring up, she says. And he says in verse 11, Samuel. Now, Samuel is the one person Saul could trust. Samuel had always spoken truth to him because Samuel trusted the Lord and not himself, and he wasn't afraid of Saul. And so when the woman saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice. Verse 12. Many have thought the reason she does that is she's absolutely surprised herself at that Samuel is there. She's a medium. Does she really have the ability to contact the dead, or is this basically a parlor trick on her behalf? Well, I don't know. But I think she's very surprised that Samuel actually shows up. And for whatever reason, the Lord allows this to happen. So she cries out at this time with a loud voice. And Samuel says to Saul, verse 15, why have you disturbed me by bringing me up? Samuel's not happy about this. He doesn't want to be there. And what am I going to say to you? Verse 15, God is departing from you. You know that. There's nothing really more that I can say to you than I've said when I was in my lifetime on the earth. Verse 16, why do you ask me, since the Lord has departed from you, has become your adversary? There's nothing more I can do for you, Saul. Now Samuel grieved over Saul. I think Samuel truly loved Saul, cared for Saul, felt sorry for Saul. But there's nothing he can do because the Lord has turned on Saul at this time. And so all he says in verse 19 is, therefore tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. You are going to die in battle, and your sons will too. What a depressing message that he has given. This, of course, devastates Saul, who can hardly get over it, and refuses to eat, although they make him do so. I would say on one positive note, possibly, in verse 19, when Samuel says, you and your sons will be with me tomorrow, we know that Samuel is in what we call paradise, or Abraham's bosom. This is the place where the Old Testament saints would go after they had died. That's where Samuel is. And he says to Saul, you're going to be with me tomorrow. Is he indicating that Saul, after all this, is truly a child of God? that he's truly been redeemed by the Lord and his sons. I don't think you can press that too hard, but it does give us hope, because early on we saw that Saul was a humble man, and the Lord had actually changed his heart, and the Spirit of God had come upon him, which gives us some indication that perhaps Saul was truly a believer. And even with all the evil that he'd done, that perhaps he truly knew God. That can be our hope. Maybe Samuel is saying that as well. He might simply be saying, tomorrow you'll be dead, but he says he'll be with him. So that gives us some hope. I hope so.